successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man. The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business speaker for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life. The setup is on Friday. Friday. Now, I know like a while ago I would do this and I had a little more on me, and I've got comments on the Facebook. I got comments on the Insta. I got comments on the Messenger. I got comments from people to my face to face. Like, are you the shrinking man? Where's all your muscle go? My muscle didn't leave me. I just dropped some LBs. So don't be a hater. I'm getting older. I want to trim down a little bit. Come on now. Someone give me some. So anyways, I got my hat on for you this morning. And when I get ready and get fired up, I'm going to turn it around. It's going to be backwards hat. Friday. Friday. The great setup is on. The great setup is on. I was thinking about this all week, and I was like, I was going to save this for Friday. I just want you to understand, as entrepreneurial people, as people in this world, as people that are going through the wire differently movement, the mindset, the mission, the ministry. We really got to realize what's going on with the show, what's going on with everything we're trying to do. We're really trying to help build each other. You're building me. I mean, I get lots of encouragement from you. Man, I got one literally before I went on. Good morning and happy Friday. Just like this, a random text. I hope you're feeling rested today and your PMA, positive mental attitude, is perfect as can be. You got this. I think you're doing great. You inspire me. Thank you. So thank you back. Thank you for because you go through stuff like this and you're thinking about what can you share with people and who do you offend, who you're not offending. Sometimes you think you're saying just exactly the right things, and somebody says, why did you say that? Why would you say PTSD? Or why would people? There's everybody. I just want you to know that, man, my intentions, my motives, my thought processes, some things that I spew out, they're all meant for, really the good of everybody. And I want you to understand that, when you put these things together and you get on here live and you say things and you plan a show, and sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't go well, sometimes they go great. They've been going great here of late, and it's just a blessing. So I wanted to kind of take out the week this Friday and talk to you about the setup. The setup is on like Donkey Kong. We're going to let it rip, potato chip. I mean, the setup. So I think people are wondering when I put in these titles, I ran over the guy behind me. I felt bad about that, or anything that I talk about. The titles are a little bit provocative to get you stirred up to kind of hear what I'm going to say. And then I can't let you down when I start talking about the topic. But back to my point is that, what we're doing here is we're building you in 3 compartments. I think that it's important for you to understand that I'm one of the few or only coaches out there that's willing to take on all 3 components of the person. You being the person. I want to take on all 3 pieces of you. I want you to realize that my job is to build you personally. My job is to build you spiritually. And my job is to build you profitably. And I think if we look at all 3 of these things as your coach, I can do these things with you. And the show is designed to lift up the brand, lift up the awareness of the mind, the message, the motivation, the ministry, right? And the movement of Wired Differently. And more importantly, it's to inspire you, it's to motivate you, it's to get you thinking. 30 minutes just goes pretty quick. And I wonder, wow, how am I ever going to get 30 minutes? And I try to shoot for 30 minutes, between 20 and 30 minutes, but we've been nailing 30, 32 minutes. And I look at the clock and I'm like, oh man, I got to get moving. People got stuff to do today. Yesterday's show was extremely interesting. I watched it back, and I watch all my shows back, but yesterday I watched my show back about friends and the kind of the bad wreck, the wreck that I was in. And my wife and my dad were listening to it. My dad was just chuckling so much. He just said, son, your face is on the Facebook. I didn't know I could see you and hear you. This is remarkable. He's 81 and he's changing in some ways, right? In his focus and the way things are working. But he was just so impressed with the fact that I said I was sorry. And he was so happy that I owned the problem and I took it head on. He goes, more people should hear this, son. More people should. So Dad, thanks for listening. And I brought up the dog, Charlie, my favorite dog, Charlie. He bought for me when I was a little boy. He was so happy to hear that. So what do we got going on today before I kick off the setup? So what do we got? I like doing positive thing, my positive mental attitudes. And we're not going to dive into Trump being indicted and Biden falling down and all these types of things. We just don't really kind of get into that so much. But we are talking about the national days. So today's national days or world days. Today's national, June 9th. So first of all, June 9th is one of my favorite birthday days because two of my favorite people in the world have the same birthday today. My brother, arguably my best friend from Jump, back in 1968, he was born, and he is the Tom's Donut goat of all time. He runs that company. He does a great job. He's got 3 kids, and he's amazing. I think if I'm 58, he must be 55. Shane, double nickel today, bro. Happy birthday, double nickel. I love my brother Shane. I know his arms got some stuff moving on there. Get that shoulder ruined. Take the day off. Enjoy yourself. I was in the donut shop this morning. I got my coffee. I talked to everybody. Things are perfect. Everything's running great. Just relax and chill. And the other person on June 9th that I love so much. Now, listen, this is positive mental. My first grandson, Sailor Lincoln King. Sailor Lincoln King, I love you. I'm in Indiana, and I fly home on Monday. Man, it's been a long trip, so happy birthday. So Friday, June 9th, happy birthday. Now, listen, today is National Movie Night. So Shane and Sailor, you guys take your family out, go to a movie. It's on me. I'm buying. Take your best friend. We learned about best friends yesterday. Take your buddy, take your friend, go to the movie. Shane, I got you a movie and a dinner. Say, man, pick up your mom and go see a movie. My daughter, Courtney, you guys are the best team around. What else do we got? Coral Triangle Day. I don't want to talk about that one. World Antibody Syndrome, an immune system disorder. I think that we should celebrate the Immune System and Disorder Day. I know several people that have immunity disorders. It's a very difficult thing to live with. And I think we should have awareness to immunity disorders. Your gut, and my good friend Brandon Eckel talks about your gut. Get over to Brandon Eckel at Wired Differently. Sergeant Brandon Eckel. He is the master at gut and understanding the body and the health and training not only your body, your mind, and your gut on how to do things right. Anyways, I think it's important. Kara Sailor, my daughter, is a gluten tolerant and turned into type 1 diabetes. So something you got to take seriously. National Earl Day. I don't know that one. Well, let's look at it. National, maybe it's Earl. The ninth each year dedicates National Earl Day to those with a particular qualification and a genuine capacity for achievement. The day honors those legends named Earl. Well, the name is becoming uncommon these days. Hopeful those who have the privilege of being so named have earned it. One enterprising man by the name of Earl Baltz went from band leader to dirt racetrack owner in 1954 when he transformed the El Dorado ballroom into the El Duro Speedway. I mean, El Duro earned reputation. I'm just confused about the same. Okay, so there's a lot of famous Earls. Well, Earl, congratulations, Earls. You got your own day. I got nothing. I got nothing on Earl. I'm sorry. Wait, I know some Earls. They're great guys. You got your own day. Congratulations. I think we should have a Todd day. Why not? I think we should have a day for Tom. I think we have a day for Susie. I think we should have a day for everybody. National Donald Duck Day. Now, Earl and Donald Duck got the same day. The same damn day. You got a Duck Day and an Earl Day. Now we're talking. All right, I'm done with this. The setup is on. The setup is on. The setup is on. I want to get to some meat today. I want to get to some rock and roll shoulder. I got to get the hat on backwards. I got to talk about the setup is on. Why is the setup on? Why is the hat on backwards? Let me tell you why. Because one, Heather doesn't like me wearing hats, and she hates it when I wear it backwards. So I got to get it just right now. My wife doesn't mind it. Some people don't mind it, but I'm here to tell you, man, the rock and roll show, it's Friday. The positive mental attitude is on. Let's get it on like Donkey Kong. The setup is on. The great setup is on. So really what I wanted to talk to you about today is what is your setup? The most successful people in the world know two things. They know, one, what they want, and they, two, know how to go get it. I mean, it's not that they're the science behind every project they have. It's not that they have created every idea. Most of them haven't even created the idea. It's just that these people know what they want and they go get it. And sometimes knowing what you want, most of the time, I guess I would tell you, for me, it's exactly what I want exactly at the right moment, every moment. It's just that I know I want something in an area. I know I want something in the payroll world. I knew I wanted to grow a payroll company. I knew I wanted to be the best payroll provider in the small space in the year 2003. I knew I wanted to be a donut entrepreneur when I took it over from my dad and the things that we did in 2007, 18, but I didn't exactly know how I was going to do it. I didn't know exactly how I was going to be the payroll guy. I knew I was going to write a book. I didn't know exactly how I was going to write a book, but I knew that's what I wanted. I knew that I wanted to become wired differently, but I didn't know exactly. So my point of the matter is that most great entrepreneurs, most great thinkers, most successful people in the world know two things. They know what they want, and they know how to go get it. And so really what I want to talk to you about today is the setup to your success. The setup to all success is literally predicated to the success. So if you want to have success in payroll, you want to have success in authorship, you want to have success in retail food, if you want to have success in insurance, you want to have success in a factoring organization, you want to have success in real estate, you want to have success in commercial, you have to have what's called a setup. And the setup is merely this. This is where I want to be. This is the big picture of what I want to do. And so now you start to do things that will set you up to be in that position. Listen, when you go, if you're a professional football team or a basketball team, pick your sport. I want you to understand that the Super Bowl is the be-all, end-all to all that. But you have to play all the games to get to the Super Bowl. And you're constantly setting yourself up to win each game. And each game win is constantly setting you up to win or to be in the Super Bowl. You see, what I'm trying to tell you so eloquently here is we end up failing to goals, but we rise to our systems. Most of us fail to our goals, but we rise to our systems. We need to understand that if we focus too much on the Super Bowl, or we focus too much on the finished book, or we focus too much on the end coaching, we focus too much on the end product, that we forget how important it is to set things up, to create the systems so that the product can grow organically, move, and have processes so that it can repeat itself time over again. The secret to success is the systems and the setup. And so when I talk about the great setup, I guess I just wanted to kind of dial in. I'll give you an example of a setup for me right now is that I have multiple projects always in the pipeline. And I would tell you Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, some of these guys out there, Jordan Pace, and all these guys would always tell you, you have to have projects in the hopper. You have to have projects in the pipeline. And that's the beginning of all setups. Creating a pipeline, creating a field of processes or projects that you can be working on as an entrepreneur. Even as a human being, when you're walking through life, you've got to have certain little things in your back of your mind or in your palette of success or leadership of things you want to accomplish. And this becomes what's called your pipeline. And this pipeline is the beginning of the setup process for all success. Because if you're not picking out things in your life to accomplish or projects to go after, then more than not, you're just taking things that come along. Now, I'm not saying I never took something that came along, but most everything that I have done has come along because I was in a project that created that process or that additional find. And so when I say the setup is so important, because that's exactly where you're taking your body, your mind, your soul, your identity. You're forcing yourself to go in an area to start thinking and having some type of channel vision. And when you have multiple projects in the pipeline, like I'll just do mine because it's easy. So I have a Verbo house, I have a rental house, I have another project I'm trying to get started to build to create more units to be able to rent. I've got a commercial project that I'm working on in the pipeline. Maybe that's gurgling up. I've got this movie, The Tiger in Us. That's another project that's kind of gurgling up. And obviously this summer, I've got this event coming up called the Block Party in July for Tom's Donuts, the donut capital of the world, right? That's another project that's gurgling up. Listen, the project I'm really talking about that set up all of this conversation with you this morning is the setup is on, and I'll share it with you right now. My new book, Your Will Be Done. I know some of you heard about it already. You can go to toddsaylor.com and get that book. And we have a pre-sale. Chris is working on that right now. We just had the flash sale, but the pre-sale is going on, and you can get that book. It's $29.99. But if you go to my website, toddsaylor.com, you can get that book right now for $24.99, and I'll pay for the shipping in this new pre-sale offer that we have. So what I'm telling you right now, though, is that when I look at that book and I look about the Tiki Hut that's coming up in November, we've got the date. We're going to iron that out today. And that Tiki Hut retreat is going to be amazing. So the Tiki Hut retreat was at the amazing IMG, but we are real close to inking a deal, doing it literally on a resort, on an island at a Longboat Key with tiki huts on the ocean and our own resort area where we're going to be basically one of the few people in this resort having this accommodations, and all the luxury and all the amenities are going to be upgraded for less money, man. Like, so I'm super, though we're on a tangent, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm excited about. Is a setup, right? So I got all these projects. So I got the book, I got the tiki, I got the movie, I've got the concert coming up in July. I've got this new house it's the new house I'm redoing, a new website, a new rental company. So these are all products in a pipeline. These are all setups. These are they're like, if they're in the trough, they're in front of me and a lot. And I know that if my pipeline has projects there, I'm setting something up. Not all of them are going to hit exactly right. But listen, if you have nothing in your pipeline, then virtually nothing's going to happen, right? And if it does happen and you have nothing in your pipeline, it's a random act and good for you, but it's not something that you've really choreographed or something that you've purposely focused your mind into. And sometimes, those things don't work out as well because they're spontaneous. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying I'd rather you create your own setup. I'd rather you create your own pipeline. And so let me give you an example of the book, Your Will Be Done. I'm super excited about it. The pre-sales are going great. We had 3 orders yesterday alone for 25 or more. So if you want bulk books, we'll get them to you at a discount. We'll ship them out to you. We'll make it all right for you. Thank you for my supporters who have bought bulk books to give to their organizations. I want to give you a great deal. Anybody who wants to buy, 2 or more books, just DM Abby or me, or let us know and we'll get those out to you. We'll ship them and take care of all that for you. But at the end of the day, let's talk about that. Let's bring it home with this idea of the great setup is on. And it's easier for me just to talk about myself because I'm in it. I'm in the throes of it. And I can tell on myself. I can tell you the mistakes I made. But it's easy for you to say, okay, I watched this guy. He's a regular guy, He falls down every now and then. He does stuff. He tells on himself. And I want you to know that, someone texted me right before I went on, I'm an inspiration. Well, I feel like you're an inspiration because you allow me to literally cleanse myself on social media, being live and sharing my wins and losses, sharing the fact that you're wired differently. I'm wired differently. God made us differently, man. Differently is an adverb, not an adjective. We are an actionable people. We're not just a description. We are an adverb, man. We take action. We are differently, right? We get up early in the morning differently. We go to bed at night differently. We cry differently. We try differently. We fight differently, right? We love differently, right? We forgive differently. We win differently. We lose differently. We do everything differently because we're just wired differently. And our brand of wired differently, our mindset, our mission, our movement, and our ministry really lends ourselves to understanding that we are following scripture. We are following just simply the road path that the Bible has laid out for us, man. It's just so simple. And if we do that and we accept Christ and we go through the gospel and we do these things and we follow that wired or differently salvation message, then we are just but misfits of this world. So we're differently from this world, right? So here's the setup of Your Will Be Done. That's kind of the setup for Your Will Be Done because the book is about the 2 wills, triangulating God's will for us and our own free will here on this planet, us earthlings walking around with God in us, right? So we have to have those 2 wills converge. And so the setup right now is for my book and the Tiki Hut. And so what I've done for the setup for the book and the Tiki Hut is about I got to tell you, a little over 2 months ago, I put together a contract with a great dude. Mike C. Rock is his stage name or his name on the Facebook. You can go on. I'm going to be doing a podcast with him soon. And he's doing a great job. But anyways, he's helped me. His company has helped me book 20 podcasts. And so what I'm doing, I had to start booking those roughly 60 days ago to set up the book release that's going to happen literally now. And so now within 2 weeks, I'm going to start the regimen of 20 podcasts for the next 2 months. And in those podcasts, I'm going to be talking about the book. And in those podcasts, I'm going to be talking about the Tiki Hut retreat and the coaching. So everything that we're doing in this organization is coming in this funnel type mentality where we have you watchers, we have you viewers, we have you followers, which we're screaming past 17,000 right now. And we talk to you. We love you. We encourage you. We motivate you. We inspire you on a Friday. But we have you all up here at the top of the funnel. But as the funnel comes down, We want to qualify you, make sure that we can help you. And somewhere down here, we find the people that we can really help, and they buy the book, they get involved, they come to the Tiki Hut retreat, and they get some masterful coaching in their entrepreneurial mindset, walk, and mission in ministry, right? And so that's where we want to build you personally, we want to build you spiritually, and we want to build you profitably. That's how it all works. Starts here and it comes down. And if you're not interested, we kind of say goodbye and we deal with you and we work with you. But we want you all to be listening and part of this. But that's the setup, if you will, the business setup you need for yourself and your own mindset, your own ministry, your own organization. So the setup right now is 20 podcasts. So you think about one of the things that we just didn't do right early on, because I didn't know what I was really going to do with Wired Differently, was I never really focused on where the real help was going to be for people. But now we know it. And so life got a lot easier once I committed to sharing and teaching and coaching as the final product for Wired Differently. So now we know that the books lead to other books, into workbooks. We know that the show leads to books and workbooks and self-help, spiritual help, and profitable help. We know all these things are coming together in the setup. Yeah, and it's a setup for a conversion. Now, some people might call it a sale, but I'm just going to tell you it's a conversion. So we want to make sure that we're in the right space of personal help, spiritual help, and profitable help and need, so that we can come down this funnel, right? We can come down this funnel and make sure that you're in the zone, in the place or where we can help you. And we're not going to charge you a lot of money, because we want to build this as a large growth coaching syndication. And you're helping us. So the money that you bring into the coaching program goes back into the show, goes back into the Tiki Hut, goes back into the curriculum, goes back into my good friend Chris Dunda, who's writing our coaching curriculum right now to get you certified to be a Wired Differently coach. I mean, think about this. Wired Differently has a process and a product that is set up to work through a business system, not just a goal, but it's a system. Remember what we said at the beginning of the show. You will fail to your goals and rise to your systems, right? We fail to our goals. Only one person can win the Super Bowl, so 25 failed, right? Think about that for a moment. Only one person won the gold medal at the Olympics in the ice skating, speed skating, but the 3,000 that were in it failed, right? Because they didn't get to their ultimate goal of winning it, right? So at the end of the day, we have to really understand that we must have some goals, but at the end of the day, we really need to be focusing on the systems to ascend to the goal, because the systems are what are going to stay in place. The pipeline are what you're going to be drawing for and building systems upon. So the setup is the systems. The podcast is the setup in the systems of developing a message on the book. The podcast is the setup and the systems developing the message on the Tiki Hut, right? And so we have to take our process. The setup to selling the coaching is the show, is the ads on Google, the ads on Facebook, the ads on Instagram, the likes, the hearts. This show I do every morning for no charge. I enjoy it. I love when I am inspired by you. That's part of the setup. Now you say, Todd, what do you mean you're setting me up? Well, I'm just explaining to you as an entrepreneurial business coach, right? That in our own lives, as I take this out, in our own lives, personally, we have to be setting up success in our own personal life, right? If you want to have relationship success with a friend or a partner or a spouse, you have to plan it. You know, some things are great spontaneously in relationships, but most great things happen, like the vacation needs to be set up, right? The investments for your retirement age with your spouse or your partners has to be set up. The college fund that you want to pay for your child has to be set up. mean, nothing really great happens without a setup. And so when I talk about your spiritual side, you have to be in the Bible. You have to be in the reading. You have to set yourself up to be able to hear from God. You have to set yourself up in prayer. You have to set yourself up by asking for forgiveness, repenting for your sins. You're setting yourself up for success with God and his world and his work and his word. And in business, it's no different. So I'm kind of telling on myself, but we know people are in business to make money. You're not going to hire a coach that says, oh, just give everything away. And by the way, you don't need to pay me, right? Because I don't know what a coach that doesn't ask for some compensation really is not a coach that's going to be able to coach you to be successful. And so the setup, what I'm trying to share with you, my friends, is the setup is how you bake the cake, man. You really, really need to know what's going on. It's been a great 30 minutes. Can you believe it goes so fast? It's Friday. The setup's up here. Process comes here. Funnel actually brings it down, and we find the people. You find the things you need to do. You're constantly pulling from your pipeline. And more importantly, you've got to be always adding something to the setup pipeline. You can't let that pipeline get depleted. One of the most depressing moments in my life was after I made a huge sale of $1.2 million. One of the biggest, it was a $3 million sale, and I got $1.2 million in cash the following day. And I sat on the balcony of my waterfront ocean in Anna Marie Island. I was sitting back and I was having a glass of iced tea, and I was rocking kind of back and forth and looking at the beautiful water. And I opened up my phone and I looked at it and I saw that money and I shut it down. And then I pulled it back up and I saw that deposit and I thought, wow. And it wasn't even 3 minutes later that I realized that as high as I was over that, I thought to myself, I don't have anything in my pipeline right now. What am I going to do now? My pipeline was exhausted. I'd given everything for that moment, right? And I didn't do it wrong. It's not a wrong place to be, right? You can say 3 million, 4 million, whatever it was, and you got $1 million. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that even at the height of that, for 5 minutes, I could celebrate the idea of the money being there. But I was already in a spot where I was like, what's next? And so the pipeline is the most important piece of your setup. Remember this, my friends. Challenge yourself with a pipeline. 3-4 projects in it, whether it's personal, spiritual, or profitability in your business. Make sure that your pipeline is constantly being populated. Right? And we're going to work on that. And remember this too as we close. We fail to our goals and we rise to our systems. We're always going to rise to the systems that we create for our pipelines that we're pulling from. But if we focus so much on goals, we're ultimately going to only fail to certain goals, and we're going to have simple success. And at the end of the day, you're going to be like me. If you reach a goal and you're sitting back on your balcony having a cup of iced tea and you don't have a full pipeline, you're going to be wondering what's next. You're going to be pulling on the reserves that you had from that last great deal, and you're going to be saying, man, I don't want to do that. I want to be on my next deal, my next idea, my next relationship, my next process. So listen, man, what a great Friday. You're going to have a good weekend. And I don't want to hear about my hat. I love my backwards hat. Have a great day. Remember, I love you. I love you. I love you. It's on like Donkey Kong. Let it rip, potato chip. It's Friday. I love you. I love you. I love you.